Hi guys, a very good evening to every one of you. I hope all of you are well and you are preparing for your upcoming examinations and you can excel in the upcoming attempt. That's why we had started our Manzil batch for all our subjects, that is advanced account, costing and FMSM, in which today we are going to do session number 3 of the cost. I welcome all of you to my YouTube channel, that is Rahul Shikha Academy's YouTube channel. If you are live, please press the like button, and if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon as well. I hope we are live. If you can see me, just if you can see me, and if our session is live, just let me know. Just let me know. Yes, I think yes, absolutely perfect. The session is very well live, and without wasting any further time, we will straight away go to the today's session. Okay, ji. So we start with the today's session. As I said, so this is our Manzil batch. Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. This is our Manzil batch for all the 3 subjects in which we are going to discuss today about the cost subject in which we are doing session number 3. So costing has in total 4 sessions. 2 sessions have already been done. Third we are doing it today and the fourth will be done in the upcoming days. So in each session we are taking up few chapters. So in this session number 3 we will be talking about the chapter overhead, ABC, which is nothing but the extension of the chapter overheads. Then we will see the questions of budgetary control as well as the JP and BP. And let me remind you quickly once again that this batch is specifically MCQ focused batch. We are not targeting the practical or theory specifically, but yes, the practical and theory questions which can be imbibed in the multiple choice questions, we are definitely doing that. Okay ji. So let us start, Puttar ji. Let us start straight away, and after the session is over, this file shall be sent to the Telegram channel. Okay, after all the noting etc. being done. So we start with question number 1, which relates to the chapter overheads. So you will keep writing the answers as well in the live chat so that I can see, or you can also evaluate your performance. Okay, so first question, here it comes. The allotment of child, it says whole item of cost to the cost center or cost unit is called dash. First of all, let's understand the question. Allotment of whole item of cost to the cost center, cost unit. What does it want to say? A cost has been incurred. A cost has been incurred, and if that item of cost can be taken entirely to one cost object or the particular cost center, then what will it be called? So when we do the chapter overheads, there we encounter the terms of allocation and apportionment when we prepare the primary distribution overhead summary. Apportionment means to distribute the amount of the overheads amongst various production and service department, whereas allocation means that this item of cost belongs entirely to this particular department. So the question which is being asked over here, it is said the allocation of whole item of cost to a particular cost center. What is that? The correct answer is cost allocation. So this C option is the correct answer of this question. Come on, Puttar. Moving to next one. It says the difference between actual factory overhead and absorbed factory overhead will be usually at the minimum level provided the predetermined overhead rate is based on which of these options. So there are 4 options again. First of all, let us understand what the question is saying. So it is saying, boss, there are 2 things. One is the actual overheads and the other is absorbed overheads. We know this usually is the first topic in the chapter overhead where we find out the under or over absorption. Now, actual overhead, we all know this is determined at the end of the year. But for absorbed overheads to be determined, we use something called predetermined overhead recovery rate, about which the question is mentioning over here. And we know that when we do the comparison of actual with the absorbed, we get either the under absorption or we get the over absorption. The question is saying that the difference will be minimum, means either under or over. The difference will be minimum in what case? When your predetermined overhead rate is based on either the maximum capacity or labor hour or machine hour or normal capacity. So you tell me what should be the answer. If I want that the difference should be minimum, obviously my absorbed overhead should be closely related to that capacity which is being used in actual. And out of these options, which one seems to be best close to the actual ones? The normal capacity. So the correct answer is the normal capacity child. Very nicely. Very right. Absolutely correct answer. One student is asking me, sir, आप last time जैसे January 25 के question paper solve करवाओगे क्या? Definitely, yes, it will be done definitely. The recent attempt question papers of all the subjects which are being taken by me, I shall come on YouTube and solve the same live on YouTube. And the similar thing goes for the RTPs as well. Okay, so come on, let us consider it. So one kind of case study being asked. Let us see. So we will pay our attention, and if you are seeing our lecture, please don't forget to press the like button. In a manufacturing unit, child, it says overhead was recovered at a predetermined rate of rupee 20 per labor hour. So the question is saying there is a predetermined rate, means the rate has been determined already, 20 rupee per labor hour. It means that for every labor hour being applied, rupee 20 shall be charged for the overheads. This is given for absorbing the overheads. The total factory overhead incurred and the labor hours actually worked were rupee 45 lakh and 2 lakh labor hours. So question is saying total factory overhead incurred is 45 lakh, means this is the actual overheads incurred. Okay, and I need to find out the absorb overhead. Question said to me rupee 20 is per labor hour is the absorption rate, and in total labor hours actually worked have been 2 lakh. So if I want to find out absorbed overhead, 2 lakh labor hours, and for each labor hour we charge rupee 20, so 40 lakh rupee becomes my absorbed overhead. This is absorbed overhead. 45 lakh is actual. So you tell me whether there is under absorption or over absorption. You just need to see these figures. 45 lakh is actual, absorption is 40 lakh. As we see, the absorption is less, means there is under absorption. So in this scenario, child, there is the under absorption of rupee 5 lakh. Moving further, it says during this period 30,000 units were sold. At the end of period 5,000 units were held in stock. So 30,000 sold, 5,000 were in stock. Closing FG. There was no opening stock of FG. Okay. Similarly, there was no stock of uncompleted units at the beginning of period. Means there was no opening WIP. But at the end of period, there were 10,000 uncompleted units, 10,000 WIP units, but which are 50% complete. We know that whenever there is the existence of WIP, we immediately convert those into the equivalent units. Means if they would have been FG, how many units they would have been? So 10,000 units of WIP which are 50% complete. So I can say these are as good as the 5,000 units. So in total, if I mark it, I will say I am having 30,000 units which have been sold, 5,000 units in closing stock, and equivalent 10,000 into 50%, 5,000 units of WIP equivalent. So in total 30 plus 5 plus 5 means 40,000 units were produced during the period. Okay, this is required to find out the supplementary rate. Supplementary rate is found out for the under absorption which happens due to the normal reason. So we shall go to that, don't worry. Okay, let's move it ahead. On analyzing the reason, it was found that 60% of the unabsorbed overheads was due to defective planning, means abnormal reason, and the rest were attributable to increase in the overhead cost, means this is due to the normal reason. So this is the data. Question is saying find out the answer to question number 3 to 6, means 3, 4, 5 and 6. These 4 questions relate to this data. Let us read the first question. It says what's the amount of under or over absorbed overheads. So we have already found it out that 5 lakh rupee is the under absorption. So the relevant option being 5 lakh and under absorption. So this becomes our correct answer, under absorption of rupee 5 lakh. The question is trying to confuse us by giving over absorption of 5 lakh or under absorption of 10 lakh. These are irrelevant options. And in each and every session, I have been saying this. Whenever I am giving certain kind of case study, the detailed answer to this I provide after the end of question. So in each session we take up 20 questions. So after the 20th question you will find the detailed answer to this question. You will see it's written answer number 3 to 6. So when I will share this file on the Telegram channel, you can see the answer in detail as well for this question. So we have done till here under absorption of rupee 5 lakh. Let's move ahead. Question number 4. Question asks me what's the amount and treatment of under or over absorption due to abnormal reason. We know that 5 lakh rupees under absorption, and it said 60% is due to the defective planning. So 60% is due to abnormal reason. So 60% of 5 lakh becomes 3 lakh rupees. So 3 lakh rupees is the amount. But question is asking not the amount but the treatment as well. So rupee 3 lakh. We can say that this 2 lakh options is absolutely wrong. So these are the two options with rupee 3 lakh. Now I want to further deep dive into this and find out which one is the correct answer. So it says 3 lakh and transfer to debit of costing P&L, and the other says transfer to credit of costing P&L. If there would have been the gain, then it would have gone to the credit of costing P&L, but it is under absorption, means you have absorbed less, you need to absorb more, so more expenditure needs to be put into the P&L account. So there will be debit. Accordingly, this becomes my correct answer, 3 lakh, and transfer to debit of costing P&L account child. Okay, moving further, it says what's the supplementary rate with respect to under or over absorption due to the normal reason. Okay, so now it has come to normal reason. We know that in total the amount was 5 lakh of under absorption, 60% was due to abnormal reasons, so 40% yani ki 2 lakh rupee is due to the normal reason. And to find out the supplementary rate, we need to divide it by the total units produced, which are 40,000, which we discussed while reading the question. 30,000 unit of sale, 5,000 units of FG, and 5,000 equivalent units of WIP. So the supplementary rate comes out to 5 rupee. So this becomes the correct answer. 5 rupee ji. Absolutely correct. Very nice for all the children who give the correct answer. Pallav Agrawal, Pragati Jain, and Sita Lakshmi. What a lovely name. What a God name. Sita Lakshmi. Sita Lakshmi. Haji, next question. By what amount the cost of sales be affected due to under or over absorption of the normal reason? The last question relating to this case study. By what amount the cost of sale be affected? So cost of sales is affected by the units of sales. Question told me that 30,000 units have been sold, and multiply by the supplementary rate which we just found out, that is rupee 5. So 30,000 into 5 child, it becomes 1,50,000 rupee. So accordingly option C is the correct answer. I will show you once again in this detailed solution, so you can see against the cost of sale amount being 1.5 lakh and the supplementary rate being computed as 5 rupee. Okay, so these were certain questions relating to chapter overhead. Moving further, next it gives certain question relating to the chapter ABC, activity based costing G. It says which of the following is not a benefit of ABC? Obviously the ABC system improves the treatment of the overheads as done in the overhead chapter. It says the overheads need to be divided into various activities, and then you should choose the cost driver for each and every activity, and so on. So there are various benefits. So we are being given 4 options, and the question says find out the one which is not the benefit of ABC. Okay, let's read it. First one, accurate cost allocation, very right, this is the benefit. Improved decision making, this is the benefit. Better control on activity and cost, again this is the benefit. Reduction of prime cost, this is also the benefit, but not of the ABC. Prime cost, what is the meaning of prime cost? Prime cost talks about direct material, direct labor, direct expense, but our ABC chapter specifically talks about the overheads. So by applying the ABC in my organization, I cannot reduce the prime cost. If I want to reduce the prime cost, I will have to do certain other things. So option D becomes the correct answer, that prime cost reduction is not the benefit through the ABC. It might come due to some any other reason. Very, very good. This multiple choice question, I consider it. G. Next question again relating to ABC chapter. Unit level activities are which activities? So when we study the chapter activity based costing, there comes a topic under which the various heads are given by which the activities can be done. For example, unit level activities or batch level activity or product level activities. In that it is asking about the unit level activities. So it says unit level activities are activities for which the consumption of resources can be identified with the number of units produced. So this seems to be the best answer, yet we will read the other two. Activities which are performed to support the different products, no. Unit level, as the name says, unit level activities means which can be the resources consumption can be identified as per the number of units produced. That both this much has been the consumption and this is the number of units produced, so that you can tie up the relation between them. Third option says activities driven by the number of batches of units. No, the activities which is driven by the number of batches of units, those are called as the batch level activity. Over here it is asking unit level activity. So option A is the correct answer. Let me see if any student has given the correct answer. No, not yet. I think they are giving the answer of the previous question. They have written D, 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 D. Okay, no issues. No issues. Let's move ahead. Question number 9. Again, a good question relating to the chapter ABC. It says the use of ABC as a costing tool to manage the cost at activity level is known as activity based costing. We know. it says the treatment of overhead should be tied up with the activity, then choosing, finding the activity, deciding its cost pool, tying up with the cost driver, finding the cost driver rate accordingly. But over here it says use of ABC as a costing tool to manage. This is the meaning, to manage the cost at the activity level. What does it called? Is it called activity based costing or activity based management or budgeting or planning? What is it called? The correct answer is activity based management. In this particular concept, it says that you need to bifurcate the activities into the value added activity and the non value added activity, and accordingly make the decision whether to continue the non value added one and to put more value to the value adding activities. So question was very clear, to manage the cost at the activity level. So that is activity based management. Yes, let us see the next one. It says we are getting certain questions relating to the chapter budgetary control. So there is a document called budget manual. So it says which option is the correct one with respect to this budget manual. First option says it contains different type of budgets to be formulated only. It contains the details about the standard cost of the products. Third option says budget manual is a document setting out the budget organization procedures for preparing a budget. Fixing the responsibility means who will make the budget, from whom he will get the budget approved. Formats of the budget, records required for the purpose of preparing a budget, exercising the whole budgetary control system. So C option is the correct one. Budget manual basically is the masterpiece relating to the budgets in the organization, which contains each and every single detail from start till end of the budgetary control process. So option C, child, is the correct answer. In question 10, C option is the correct one. Question 11 says, following is not a classification of period wise budget. When we do the chapter budgetary control in theoretical aspect, we say that the budgets are classified on various bases. So out of that one particular basis, period wise budget means you can make the budget for the long term, short term, etc, etc. So it is giving us the four option, namely long term, mid term, short term, current budget. It is saying which one is not the classification of period wise budget. So the correct answer is mid-term budget. There is no term called as mid-term budget. It can be either long-term, short-term, or the current budget, which relates to the day-to-day current affairs of the organization, current time period. So mid-term budget is the odd option. Next, very, very important. In dash, cost of each activity has to be justified, and without justification, the budget allowance is zero. So we are being given four options. Out of these, which one is that system in which it is said you have to justify the cost of every rupee you ask as a budget allowance, and if you don't justify, the budget allowance is zero. So what happens? There used to be a traditional budgeting system. For example, I say that this is the previous year. In the previous year, the marketing department was allotted a budget of, let's say, 50 lakh rupee. So when you come in the next year, in the traditional system, it is assumed that if last year 50 lakh rupee was given as was allowed as a budget to marketing department, so this year for sure there will be 50 lakh plus something, and marketing department has to give the justification for that extra only. But the modern system say that why this 50 lakh is being considered as it is, why this marketing department shouldn't again give the justification of this 50 lakh as well. So this system is called dash, it is saying. So options are current budget, flexible budget, performance budgeting, or zero based budgeting. As the name goes, zero based budgeting is the correct answer. That if you don't just give the justification, the budget allowance will be zero, or you can say we will start with the zero in the fresh year and you will have to give all the justification. Very, very popular theoretical question, zero based budgeting, child. Next question. It says consider the following data. Okay, we are getting a practical question along with certain questions. So this is very, very, very important, can be asked in your examination as well. It says, child, a single product company estimated its sale for the next year quarter wise as under. So we are given the sales for each quarter 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. It says the opening stock of finished goods is 10,000 unit and company expects to maintain a closing stock of FG at 16,250 at the end of year. So sales are given quarter wise, but the opening stock is given at the beginning, 10,000 units, and closing stock is again given not at the end of quarter but at the end of year. Closing stock, it says, is 16,250 units. Further, it says the production pattern in each quarter is based on 80% sales of current quarter. So how much you will produce in the quarter? It says 80% of the sales of current quarter, means 80% of the sales of current quarter you will produce, and 20% of sales of next quarter, and you will produce 20% of sales of next quarter, means in quarter 1 you will produce 30,000 ka 80% and 37,500 which is the sales of next quarter ka 20%. So this will be the production of quarter 1 and accordingly of second, third and fourth. Okay. Question then gives the data of raw material etc. And it says from the above details you have to answer question number 13 to 17. So we read one by one. It asks me what is the production of quarter number 2. So what we will have to do for quarter 2, you will produce iska 80%, 37,500 ka 80% plus 41,250 ka 20%. So if I do it on calculator, 37,500, the current sales of a quarter, whatever it is, you have to do the 80% of that, and of the next quarter sale you have to do 20%. So 41,250 into 20%. Okay, let us solve. 37,500 into 80% child becomes 30,000 and 41,250 into 20% becomes 8250. 38250. Yes, it's a 5-star question in our book, very important. So this is the correct answer, 38,250. Pretty easy, I'll say. The next one is really challenging. What's the production of quarter 4? Now you will say, sir, there is no challenge, sir. It's very simple, sir. Sir, 80% of sale of current quarter, sir. 45,000 into 80%, sir. And 20% of sale of next quarter, which is not given. How to solve this? That's the real challenge. Okay, so I have given the detailed answer over here. Let us see. Okay, so production budget as is given quarter 1, 2, 3 and 4. So first of all, we mark the sales of each quarter, and for each quarter, how to find out the production? Question said that you have to do 80% of sales of current quarter. So we simply did 80% of these figures, and then 20% of sales of next quarter, means next quarter ka you can see you have done 20%, but in quarter 4 you are not able to do it because the next year's quarter 1 sales is not given so as to do 20% of that. So what we can do, we can simply do till the point we can find out. So 24,000 plus 7,500, 31,500. Similarly for quarter 2 and quarter 3. So we are able to find out the production of quarter 1, 2 and 3. Now we must remember the question is given as the opening and closing stock at the beginning and at the close of the year, and we have the generic formula of finding out the production, that is sales plus closing minus opening. So if you add these sales of 4 quarter, you will get the sales of full year, which becomes 153,750 plus closing stock in that and minus opening stock. So you get 1,60,000 as the production of complete year. If I deduct these 3 productions of quarter 1, 2 and 3 from this total production, what I will get? I will get the production of quarter number 4. So in this manner you can get this balancing figure which comes as 48,250 child. So production of quarter 4 is 48,250. This is the correct answer. Okay, the question then talks about the raw material. So first of all, we shall go and read the balance question. Okay, it says further, the opening stock of raw material in the beginning of year is 10,000 kg and the closing stock at the end of year is to be maintained at 5,000 kg. So question is giving us the opening and closing again at the end of year and beginning. Then each unit of FG requires 2 kg of material. This is required to find out the consumption of the material. Okay, so whatever the production you have found for each quarter, if I multiply it by 2 kg, I will get the raw material consumption for each particular quarter. Then question says, company proposes to purchase the entire annual requirement of material in the first 3 quarters. Whatever is the quantity you have to purchase for the full year, find out that quantity, and then you have to buy 30% of that in quarter 1, 50% of that in quarter 2 and 20% in quarter 3 at these rates respectively. And the question, we don't know why, is giving the value of opening stock of material at the beginning of year. So we shall see if we require it or not. First of all, question is saying what's the raw material consumption of quarter number 3. So what you have to do simply, the production of quarter 3 is to be multiplied by 2 because question said to make 1 unit you need 2 kg of raw material. Okay, let us see over here. So for quarter number 3, this was the production, multiply by 2. So you get the figure of 84,000. This is the answer to this question. 84,000. So question number 15, correct answer is option C, that is 84,000 rupee child. Okay, sorry. The next question, it says, what's the total raw material quantity to be purchased during the year? What's the total raw material quantity? So we will apply the generic formula for that, which is consumption of the material plus closing stock and minus opening stock. This way we shall get the total raw material quantity to be purchased during the year. Okay, let us see over here. So finding the total purchase, we are saying this is the total raw material consumption. What we did, just adding these up. So it gives me 3,20,000. Closing stock and opening stock are being given in the question as 5,000 and 10,000 kg respectively. So you get 3,15,000 kg purchases. 3,15,000 rupee ka purchase. Sorry, units ka purchase. So 3,15,000 means option B becomes our right option. Okay, the final question, one more relating to this data. It says, child, what's the cost of material to be purchased in first quarter? Cost of material. So what you will do, whatever the quantity, total quantity you have found out, just do the 30% of that. So I will say 315,000 into 30%. It comes as 94,500, means you have to buy 94,500 kg in quarter 1. But the question is not asking about the quantity but about the cost. So you have to multiply it by the price which is prevailing in quarter 1, which is 2 rupee per kg, which is 2 rupee per kg. So 94,500 multiply 2, you get 1,89,000 child. So this becomes the correct answer, 1,89,000, and you can verify, vouch from here as well. For quarter 1, the total cost is 1,89,000. I have given the solution in detail so that if this question is asked in descriptive, you should be able to answer it, because if it is asked in descriptive, the question will ask you to prepare the budget for all the 3 quarters. Okay, wonderful question ji. I hope everybody is feeling thrilled and excited after doing this. Come on ji. Next question. But before we do this, let's have little water. Jai Mata Di ji. Come on, child. Yeah. So question number 18. It says in the NRV method. So which chapter we are talking about? JPBP. In the NRV method, for apportioning the joint cost over the joint product, the basis of apportionment would be dash. What is the NRV method? Hanji. What is this? Sales value after further processing. Sales value after further processing. And minus further processing cost. Everybody should remember the formula. So in this manner we get the NRV, and the joint cost is divided amongst the joint product on the basis of this NRV. So question is asking us, in NRV method, what is the basis of apportionment? So this is the basis of apportionment. Let us see the options. First option says selling price per unit of each. No. Selling price multiplied by units sold of each. No. Selling price, sales value of each joint product less further processing cost of the products. Yes. This is the correct answer, child. Option C. Very nice to all the students who are giving the correct answer. Very nice. Moving to next question number 19. Dash are the products of relatively small value which emerge incidentally in the course of manufacturing the main product. So if you are manufacturing the main product and something comes out incidentally, means you did not want that, your intention doesn't matter, it has to come out, it will come out. For example, when you are doing the chartered accountancy, the dark circles, the sleepless nights, the fear of being failed, these all come incidentally even if we don't want that. So same way, organization doesn't want, but it is coming, it is emerging incidentally, and these are of small value. What is these called? It says either will it be called joint product or buy or co-product or any of the above. The correct option is option B. These are called as the byproduct, that you are not the main product. If it would have been the main product, it will be called joint one, right? Not the byproduct. Byproduct is a kind of extra kind of thing, not having the major value. The last one, 20th, a practical question. The question says K company manufactures two hair care lotion, Livy and Silly out of a joint process. Okay. The joint cost incurred are rupees 6,30,000 for a standard production run, which generates 1,80,000 gallons of Livy and 1,20,000 gallons of Silly. So question is giving the physical output of both, and this is the joint cost. Question further says Livy is sold at rupee 240 per gallon and Silly sales for rupee 390 per gallon. Sales price is given, so we can find out the sales value by multiplying by the respective units, that is in gallons. If the additional processing cost beyond the split off point, so additional processing cost is given because you may be further processing 140 per gallon for Livy, 90 per gallon for Silly. The amount of joint cost of each production run, so it is asking now the apportionment of joint cost, the amount of joint cost allocated to Livy on a physical quantity basis. If the question had to ask me on the base of physical quantity, then why the question is giving this sale price additional processing cost? Just to create the confusion, because in the examination as a student we have the tendency to think if this is given, something would have to be done with this info. Examiner is not mad that he will give this information. There must be definitely something. No, there is nothing. No, there is nothing. While doing CA, we develop this habit of overthinking, of over analyzing, which is not required. Okay, so question is asking the joint cost allocated to Livy. Livy was this product, 1,80,000 gallon. Okay, so what will be the answer? So 6,30,000 is the total cost. Out of that, you need to find out what will be allocated to Livy. So multiply 1,80,000 divided by the total, means 180 plus 120 divide by 180 plus 120, or it is very simple, the production of both the units in is 180 and 120, so the ratio will be 3:2, so you have to divide it in 3:2. So I will say 1,80,000 divided by 180 plus 20 means 3 lakh into 6,30,000, so it comes as 3,78,000. So this is your correct option, child. Option B, 3,78,000 is the correct answer to this question. Okay ji. Hanji. With this, our session number 3 of the costing is also complete. I will share this PDF file, marked PDF file, after I have written all the things on my Telegram channel. From there you can access that. And if you are giving the exams of the group 2, then you should definitely see the sessions of FMSM as well. And by any chance, if you are appearing in the group 1 as well, then you should see the Manzil batch for advanced account as well. And please share it with your friends so that they can also avail the benefit. With this, I sign off. I take the leave. See you in the next session. Till then.